Great point. Joining us right now to talk about this is CNN opinion contributor, former House Republican Investigative Committee counsel Sophia Nelson, and Democratic strategist Joe Trippi. Guys, thanks for waking up to go through this after last night. Sophia, you say, from what you saw, last night reinforced for you that Michigan really could be the deciding state in November. What are you honing in on there? Why?
Yeah, I mean, I think Pennsylvania is probably going to stay with Biden. I think that, some of the other battleground states that we saw in 2016 and 2020 are probably static. I'm very concerned about Michigan, though, because Biden has a serious issue with the Muslim community, right? And we saw that in this uncommitted vote last night. Although his numbers were still overwhelmingly over 85-90% almost, he's still, that's an alarm for him to pay attention to. I think with Trump, though, Trump has got a Nikki Haley problem, and she's proving that about a third or more of the Republican base doesn't want Donald Trump. So I do think that Michigan is going to be the place that we all have to keep our eyes on election night if Trump is in fact the nominee.
That's the case, Joe. Is that good news or bad news for Joe Biden if it's Michigan?
Look, it was always going to be Michigan. I mean, there may be one or two, maybe three other states where that'll be the case, but Michigan's been tight the last two presidential cycles. There's been almost no margin of error. And I think the results last night sort of say, yeah, there's no margin of error, and they both have areas that they need to shore up or address. I'd much rather be Biden in this situation, though. I think that it's when you look at the places that he has problems, he can address them. He can share those goals. He can speak to those voters. Donald Trump's not going to go to Dearborn and tell them I want to deport all Muslims. So vote for me. So I don't. It's not like a lot of those voters are likely to go to Trump. It's whether Biden can win them back. And then when you look at Trump's problems, over 300,000 voters voting for Nikki Haley. Again, this is showing up in, state after state, a large number of them saying they don't want to support Trump in November. I look at a county like Washtenaw, sorry about that, where, to give you in that county, Haley won 45% of the vote in that county. And now go the other way. Biden lost, uncommitted got 17%. So it sort of shows both their problems, but this is a place where both their problems show up at the same time. And even in Washtenaw.
The fact that you're even continuing to try to nail it is why I'm so impressed with you, Joe, at all times. No, but what you're getting at, Joe, is that out of last night, there are lots of questions. Here's two questions, Sophia. Of these two questions, what do the uncommitted voters do? And what do Nikki Haley voters do in Michigan? Which one is harder to answer right now, do you think?
I think Biden has to focus on the fact that in 2020, he won by about 150,000 votes in Michigan, which was really comfortable compared to Hillary's loss of 10,000 votes by 10,000 in 2016. Biden's got to get those votes solidified. He can lose some votes. He can lose, 10,000, 20,000 and probably still be okay. But I think that the second question that you're asking about on the Nikki Haley side, if Trump has got a 300,000 deficit and Biden's got maybe 60,000 votes, he's kind of toying with looking at the margins. Biden's in a better place, and I agree with Joe 100%. I'd rather be Joe Biden right now than Donald Trump, because Trump has had a Muslim ban. He's talked about doubling down on that. And like Joe said, what's he going to do? Go to Muslim communities and say, well, you should vote for me because I'm going to make you have some type of brand, if you will, and you're not an actual physical brand, but we're going to classify you. We may deport you. We may ban your family members, et cetera, from coming into the country. So I don't think it's a good place for Trump to be.
But is it enough so far, Joe, that you see in the statement that John was talking about with Omar Jimenez, the statement from the campaign, essentially, from the Biden campaign, acknowledging really for the first time the protest effort, the protest vote, and it's first time they're really directly addressing the uncommitteds. What you see in that statement, is that enough to convince the uncommitteds to not stay home in November?
Well, I mean, one, it's great to acknowledge it. That's important. I listen, I'm hearing you. And I've been working on it, and I continue to work on it. And there's still quite a bit of time between now and November. And if anybody can predict what will happen in this conflict, we'll see. But so, I mean, I think there's the one thing, though, that's pretty amazing to me is, Obama had an uncommitted vote of 10%. This has been about 13, 14% for Biden. It is much larger. Why? Because the turnout was off the charts in both young people, this community, the Muslim community, and I think that's great. In the end, I think that these are people who will turn out. They're showing that. And I think so the president gets to speak to them the rest of the way. He knows who he has to speak to. His surrogates know who they have to speak to. And yes, some of them will stay home. But I think most of them are going to vote. And again, I don't see how in that moment Donald Trump doubling down against them is a strategy that gets those who do vote to vote for him. They may reluctantly vote for Biden, maybe not. But.
Yeah, and Ron Brownstein said something interesting this morning, was that Nikki Haley is leaving a trail of breadcrumbs for Joe Biden to recover. That's what Ron Brownstein sees in last night's results. I thought that was something interesting. How long, and if he has enough time to pick up all those breadcrumbs, I guess remains one of the big questions. It's good to see you guys. Thank you.